لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم. تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون. وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون. وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون. إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا عليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إن عليكم مرسلون. قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون. قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين. قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب عليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وعليه ترجعون. أأتخذ من دونه آلهة يردني الرحمن بضر الله تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. إني ذل في ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين. إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون. يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون. ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم عليهم لا يرجعون. وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون. وآيات لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنة من نخيل وعنب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآيات لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآيات لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وآيات لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آيات من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا نطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة وإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون السلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد عليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره وننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد پروردگار اس کا ثواب مومنین مومنات کے جو عزیز وقار وفات پا چکے ان کے رسالہ ثواب کا میرے پروردگار ہمارے جو عزیز وقار ہیں جو موسی صاحب کے عزیز وقار ہیں پروردگار ان کو رسالہ ثواب کا رحمان ہے بخشنے والا ہے پروردگار ان کو اعلیٰ علیین میں جگہ دو ربنا تقبل مننا انك انت السميع العليم آمين صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء، وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء، وبنور وجهك الذي أزاله كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس، يا نور يا قدوس، يا نور يا قدوس، يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحت كل اسم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النكم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء، اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته، اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته، اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك واستشفع بك إلى نفسك، وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك، وأن توزعني شكرك، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خادم متذلل خاشع متضرع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني باسمك راضيا قانعا، وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وانزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته، وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك، وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك، ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا، ولا لقبائه ساترا، ولا لشيء من عملي الكبيه بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي، ظلمت نفسي، ظلمت نفسي، وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من كبيه سترت، وكم من فادهم من البلاء أقلته، وكم من إسار وكيدا، وكم من مكروه دفعتا، وكم من سناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرت. اللهم أعظم بلائي وفرت بي سوء حالي، وكسرت بي آمالي، وكادت بي أغلالي، وعبسني النفع بود أعمالي، وخدتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها، ومثالي يا سيدي. فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجبنك دعائي، سوء عملي وفعلي ولا تفزعني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سر، ولا تعاجلني بالقوة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعل وإساءة ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكسرة شهوتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأهوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور يطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك سله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي جريت علي حكما اتبعت به ونفسي ولما احترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما هو وسده ولا ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك وخالفت بعد أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاءك والزمني حكمك وقبلاك وقد أعطيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مكرا مذنيا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مصدر التوجه في غير قبولك عذري وادخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك اللهم فاقبل عذري اللهم فاقبل عذري اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وساكي يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي وذكر عظمي يا من بدا خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي هبني لابتداء كرمك وصالح برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد ما انطوى علي قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق ترافي ودعائي خاضع لربوبيتك هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تزيا من ربيته أو تبعد من أدنيته أو تشرد من آويته أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك الصادقة وبشكرك مادها وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة وعلى ضمائر هوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارها سات إلى أوطان تعبدك تايا وأشارت باستغفارك مذنها ما هاك الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها ألا أن ذلك بلاء مكروه قليل مقص يسير بقاء قصير مدته فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستقيم يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما من هذه الجواب كي لأليم العذاب وشدة عمل طول البلاء ومدته فلئن سيرتني في العقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ركي يا ربي صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وحبني صبرت على هر نارك فكيف أصبر على النظر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك 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 فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لن تركتني ناتكا لزجا عليك بين أهل هذا جيد العاملين ولا أصرخن عليك صراخا مستصرخين ولا أبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولا أنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية أعمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يزج عليك زجيج معمل رحمتك ويناديك بلسانه أهل توحيدك ويتوسل عليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبكى بالعذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك ورأفتك ورحمتك أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يهرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوتها وترى مكانا أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ذاتها أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقها أم كيف تصدره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب أم كيف يرجو فضلك في يدكه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات مع ذلك ظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عملت بالموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين يقتل لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهديك وقضيت به من إخلاد موانديك لجلت نارا كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مكرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد في المياه معاندين وأن تجلى ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي هتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل جرم أجرمته وكل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته وأخفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيد أمرت بأسباب كرام الكاتبين الذين وكلت بعز ما يكون مني وجلتهم شهودا علي مع جواره وكنت أنت رقيب علي من ورائهم وشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفر أو خطأ تستر. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ركي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من علي معولي، يا من علي شقوت أهوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب قوي على خدمتك جواره وعدد العظيمة جوانه، وأبلي الجد في خشيتك والدمام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى يسرح عليك في ميعاد السابقين وأسرع إليك في المبادرين، واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارده، ومن كادني فكده، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك، واتف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجة، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وقلني أسرتي، واغفر لي ذلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة، فعليك يا رب نصبت وجهي، وعليك يا رب مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني منايا، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي، يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا. اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا دعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء، يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس عليه الرجاء، وسلاحه البكاء، يا سابق النعم، يا دافع النكام، يا نور المستبشرين في الظلم، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بما أنت أهله ولا تفعل بما أنا أهله، صلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله، وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم بحق محمد أنت المحمود، اللهم بحق علي أنت الأعلى، اللهم بحق فاطمة الزهراء أنت فاطر السماوات والأرض، اللهم بحق الحسن أنت المحسن، اللهم بحق الحسين أنت قديم الإحسان، يا قاضي الحاجات اقض حاجات المؤمنين والمؤمنات، يا شافي الأمراض اشف مرضانا المؤمنين والمؤمنات يا رازق زيادة في الرزق بركة في الرزق صحة في الجسم توبة قبل الموت مغفرة بعد الموت نجاة من النار دخولا في الجنة عافية في الدنيا والآخرة إنك على كل شيء قدير. رحم الله من قرأ سورة الفاتحة إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات خصوصا sponsor of the tonight. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يكن له صلوات الله.
محمد و آل محمد صلوات. دستور کائنات تھا کیا کیا بنا دیا. دستور کائنات تھا کیا کیا بنا دیا. مرنے کو بھی حسین نے جینا بنا دیا. آنکھیں میری لہو میرا محو طواف ہے. آنکھیں میری لہو میرا محو طواف ہے. مرنے کو بھی حسین نے جینا بنا دیا. دستور کائنات صلوات. ہے سلام اس پہ جو کہتی تھی صدا ہائے حسین. ہے سلام اس پہ جو کہتی تھی صدا ہائے حسین. ظالموں نے تجھے پانی نہ دیا ہائے حسین. ظالموں نے تجھے پانی نہ دیا ہائے حسین. ہے سلام اس پہ جو کہتی تھی صدا ہائے حسین. علی اکبر نے تیرے سامنے برچھی کھائی. علی اکبر نے تیرے سامنے برچھی کھائی. قتل اصغر تیرے ہاتھوں پہ ہوا ہائے حسین. ہے سلام اس پہ جو کہتی تھی صدا ہائے حسین. دکھ پہ دکھ سہ کے جسے فاطمہ نے پالا تھا. دکھ پہ دکھ سہ کے جسے فاطمہ نے پالا تھا. اس پہ بے دینوں نے یہ ظلم کیا ہائے حسین. ہے سلام اس پہ جو کہتی تھی صدا ہائے حسین. نہ رہا کوئی جنازے کا اٹھانے والا. نہ رہا کوئی جنازے کا اٹھانے والا. تن زخمی تیرا تیروں پہ رہا ہائے حسین. ہے سلام اس پہ جو کہتی تھی صدا ہائے حسین، گھوڑے دوڑائے لعینوں نے تیرے لاشے پر، گھوڑے دوڑائے لعینوں نے تیرے لاشے پر، جیسے تو صبت پیمبر ہی نہ تھا ہائے حسین، ہے سلام اس پہ جو کہتی تھی صدا ہائے حسین، جل گئے خیمے چینی چادر سامان لٹا، جل گئے خیمے چینی چادر سامان لٹا، بات تیرے ہوئی ہم پر یہ جفا ہائے حسین، ہے سلام اس پہ جو کہتی تھی صدا ہائے حسین، جس جگہ خیمہ زینب تھا وہاں سے اب تک، جس جگہ خیمہ زینب تھا وہاں سے اب تک، رات کو آتی ہے کانوں میں صدا ہائے حسین، ہے سلام اس پہ جو کہتی تھی صدا ہائے حسین، ظالموں نے تجھے پانی نہ دیا ہائے حسین، ہے سلام اس پہ جو صلوات دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی، شمر نے مارا جو درہ، شمر نے مارا جو درہ تو سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی، نہ ملا پانی اسے آگ بجھانے کے لیے، نہ ملا پانی اسے آگ بجھانے کے لیے، جل گیا بھائی کا جھولا، جل گیا بھائی کا جھولا تو سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی، اوڑھ کر سر پہ ردا کان میں در پہنے ہوئے، اوڑھ کر سر پہ ردا کان میں در پہنے ہوئے، سامنے آئی جو رملہ، سامنے سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی۔ مارے کر سید مظلوم کے ہونٹوں پہ چھڑی، مارے کر سید مظلوم کے ہونٹوں پہ چھڑی، جب ہنسا حاکم کوفہ، جب ہنسا حاکم کوفہ تو سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی۔ کیا سکینہ ہو تمہیں اتنا بتا دو بی بی، کیا سکینہ ہو تمہیں اتنا بتا دو بی بی۔ ہند نے آ کے جو پوچھا، ہند نے آ کے جو پوچھا تو سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی۔ چاہتی تھی کہ وہ لے آئے اسے خیمے میں، چاہتی تھی کہ وہ لے آئے اسے خیمے میں، باپ کا لاشا نہ اٹھا، باپ کا لاشا نہ اٹھا تو سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی۔ قید میں سنتے ہوئے باپ کے سر سے لوری، قید میں سنتے ہوئے باپ کے سر سے لوری، زخمی ہونٹوں کو جو دیکھا، زخمی ہونٹوں کو جو دیکھا تو سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی۔ میر سجاد وہ ناکے سے گری روئی نہیں، میر سجاد وہ ناکے سے گری روئی نہیں، آ کے دادی نے اٹھایا، آ کے دادی نے اٹھایا تو سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی۔ شمر نے مارا جو درہ، شمر نے مارا جو درہ تو سکینہ روئی، دیکھا جب باپ کا لاشا تو سکینہ روئی۔
जो ममनीन बाहर खड़े हैं उनसे इल्तमास है कि अंदर तशरीफ़ ले आएँ। कल से इंशाअल्लाह मौलाना तैयब जो हैं वो 9:15 बजे बैठेंगे, तो टाइम की पाबंदी करते हुए आप हज़रात से इल्तमास है कि आप तशरीफ़ लेकर आएँ। 9:15 बजे इंशाअल्लाह कल तैयब मेंबर पे होंगे। और आपसे एक और भी रिक्वेस्ट है कि ये मजालिस अभी तक कोई स्पॉन्सर नहीं हुई है, जो स्पॉन्सर करना चाहे वो प्लीज़ कुमैल से रब्ता कर लें या मुझसे रब्ता कर लें, असद से भी रब्ता कर सकते हैं। तो प्लीज़ इसको, इन मजालिस को स्पॉन्सर किए। मैं मुल्तमस हूँ तैयब मोसवी से कि मोमिन से ख़िताब फरमाएँ। खुशनुदी है इमाम ज़मान, बुलंद तर सलावत। तैयब की सेहत और सलामती के लिए बुलंद तर सलावत।
औज़ुबिल्लाहि मिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहिल्लज़ी ला यब्लुगु मिदहतुहुल क़ाइलून वला युसीना माहुल आदून वला युअद्दी हक़्क़हुल मुज्तहिदून अल्लज़ी ला युद्रिकुहु बख्दुल हिमम वला यनालुहु गौसुल फितन अल्लज़ी लैसा लिसिफ़तिही हद्दुन महदूदुन वला नातुन मौजूदुन वला वक़्तुन महदूदुन वला अजलुन ममदूद फ़तरल ख़लाइक़ बिक़ुदरतिही व नशर रियाह बिरहमतिही ववत्तद बिस्सुख़ुर मैदान अर्द सुम्मा अस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला अशरफिल अन्बिया वल मुरसलीन व हबीबिना व हबीबि रब्बिल आलमीन अबिल क़ासिम मुहम्मद अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व अला बैतिही अत्तय्यबीन अत्ताहिरीन वल्लअन अला अदाइहिम अजमईन मिन अव्वलि यौमि ज़ुल्मिहिम इला क़ियामि यौमिद्दीन। अम्मा बाद फ़क़ाल अल्लाहु सुब्हानहु व तआला फ़ी किताबिहिम मुबीन व क़ौलुहुल हक़। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू अतिउल्लाह व अतिउर रसूल व ला तुब्तिलू अमालकुम। सदक़ल्लाहुल अलीयुल अज़ीम। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मदिन व आलि। Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This event of Karbala, its foundation was not laid in the time of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This event of Karbala, its foundation was not laid in the time of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. It wasn't even laid in the time of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. But when you look at history, you see that the foundations for the event of Karbala to take place, you see that some of those foundations were laid down in the Holy Prophet's time. You see that some of those foundations were laid down in Amir al-Mu'minin's time. And you see that some of those foundations were laid down in Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Meaning what? Meaning that the foundations were not laid down in any one particular Masum's lifetime. And inshallah, these next 4 or 5 lectures, we'll look at each one of those foundations and analyze those foundations and see how they led to the event of Karbala taking place. 4 or 5 lectures. That means that there are at least 4 or 5 major events that occurred in the time or in the life of these Masumeen that led to Yazid Nantullah alayhi doing what he did, that led to Imam Hussein alayhi salam being forced to rise up against Yazid. So what were these events? And these are the events that I want to look at from a historical point of view and see how they led to where the Islamic Ummah came out to kill the grandson of the Holy Prophet. The event that I want to talk about tonight is one of the events that happened, or one of the events that occurred during the last days of the Holy Prophet's life. If you were to split these events, the way you could split these events is to say that 2 of these events happened while the Holy Prophet was alive. 2 of these events happened in the time period of Amir al-Mu'minin. And 1 of these events happened in the time period of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. 1 of these events happened in the time of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Just to give you an example, the lecture on tonight, the first event that laid the foundation for the event of Karbala is what event? The expedition of Usama. The expedition of Usama was to happen when? The same year that the Holy Prophet was to pass away. And inshallah, this is the topic of tonight, the expedition of Usama and how that led to all the other events occurring. Because one event leads to the next event, which eventually leads to Karbala. The first event for tonight that we're speaking about is the expedition of Usama. How did this lead to the second event? The second event was what? The second event was Black Thursday. In Islamic history, we have an event that is known as Black Thursday. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll speak about Black Thursday. The third event was what? Saqifa. Each one leads to the next. After Saqifa, the fourth event was what? The fourth event was taking the right of Lady Zahra away from her. Fadak. The fifth event was what? The fifth event was when Muawiyah, he tore everything that he had done with Imam Hassan. Meaning what? Whatever agreement that he had with Imam Hassan, when he tore that agreement up, that was the final straw and that was the last thing that led to Yazid claiming Khilafat, that led to Abu Abdullah al-Husayn al-Islam rising up against Yazid. These are the 5 events. Like I said, one event leads to the next. Why? What do I mean? This very first event of the expedition of Usama, of the army of Usama, how does this lead to every other event? Do you all know? This was the first major event where Zahiran, not just 1 or 2 companions, but a majority of companions, they started to not do what the Holy Prophet ordered them to do. In the lifetime of the Holy Prophet, you had 1 companion, you had 2 companions who disobeyed the Holy Prophet. That's absolutely true. But this expedition of Usama was one of the major events where not just 1 or 2 companions anymore, no. It was a whole group of companions who decided to disobey the Holy Prophet. You might ask, well, what about Ghadir Khum? Why aren't we talking about Ghadir? Ghadir leads, no. The event of Ghadir in and of itself does not lead to Karbala. What leads to Karbala is them not obeying the Holy Prophet in Ghadir. And the way they showed that they did not obey the Holy Prophet in Ghadir was through Saqifa. It was through Saqifa. That's why Saqifa is leading. But the first event, where as a jama'ah, where as a majmu'ah, where as a group of the Holy Prophet's companions, they did not obey the orders of the Holy Prophet, was the army of Usama. And then you see the next, where it wasn't just 1 or 2 companions. Now when they disobeyed the Holy Prophet, when he ordered them to go into the army of Usama, now when a whole group of companions disobeyed, tomorrow when he asked for pen and paper, you'll see the same thing happening, where a group of companions, not 1 or 2, a group of companions, they agree with Umar. That's when that same group, you'll see them as Saqifa, that's when they disobeyed the command of the Holy Prophet that he gave when? Ghadir Khum. And then you'll see those same companions disobey the Holy Prophet about what he said about his love, Lady Zahra, his daughter, Lady Zahra, by taking away her right. And this Fadak, inshallah, when we talk about it, you'll realize that this was a major incident. This is how the Islamic Ummah was feeding the Islamic army, through the gains of Fadak. If they did not snatch away Fadak, they wouldn't have had the armies that they had. They wouldn't have had those armies. And then the final event, when Muawiyah, he tears up the treaty that he had signed with Imam Hassan. These 5 events. So, inshallah, the next 40, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, we're looking at this event of Usama. And this event that happened is over a century ago. Like I said, it leads to all the other events that end up leading to Karbala. And to begin with, Zayd ibn Haris, he was a freed man that the Holy Prophet had freed. He was a slave who the Holy Prophet had freed, and he became a free man. And this man, he was killed, or he was martyred in the Battle of Muta with whom? Jafar Tayyar. Zayd and Usama, the Holy Prophet loved them both. Why? Because they were loyal to the Holy Prophet. Zayd was elder, Usama is Zayd's son. Now, when it comes to the expedition of Usama, Usama is how old? 18, 19 years old. He's young. He's young. What does the Holy Prophet say? Why does the Holy Prophet want an army to go with Usama? It's the last moments of the Holy Prophet's life. Why does he want an army to leave Medina? The Holy Prophet, he himself, he tells the companions that right after I leave, as soon as I leave this world, there's going to be calamity after calamity. There's going to be a darkness that's going to overshadow Medina. If there's going to be a darkness that overshadows Medina after the Holy Prophet leaves, then why is he sending all of the companions of his out of Medina? Because the history books, they say that this expedition, this battle, this army of Usama that the Holy Prophet wanted all of the companions to go to, this was in revenge for what had happened in the Battle of Muta. This was because of what happened in the Battle of Muta. They lost that battle. To whom? The Romans. And now the Holy Prophet, and that was when? Do you all know? That was 3 years. 3 years before the Holy Prophet passed away. 3-4 years before the Holy Prophet passed away. Maybe people are questioning, well, why is he waiting 4 years now? What's the point of waiting 4 years after the Holy Prophet has passed away to take revenge of a battle that occurred 4 years ago? Why didn't he do it the next year? Why didn't he do it 2 years afterwards? Why didn't he do it 3 years after? Why did he wait 3-4 years? He could have done it the next year. Inshallah, we'll get to why the Holy Prophet, he prolonged the army of the Islamic army to take revenge for what happened over there. But when it comes to this battle, or when it comes to this army of Usama, the Holy Prophet, the last days of his life, he tells everyone, each and every single one of his companions, to go with Usama, to go in his army and battle for Islam. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 companions, no. Abu Bakr was also told. Umar was also told. Usman was also told. All of these companions were all told to go with Usama. The only person that the Holy Prophet wanted to stay in Medina was Amir al-Mu'mineen. That was it. He only wanted Amir al-Mu'mineen to stay in Medina, but he wanted all of the other companions to go with Usama. So what did the companions do? When he made Usama the commander of the army, all the companions, they came to the Holy Prophet, they made excuses. Ya Rasulullah, he's 18. What's he going to know? He's 19. What is he going to do? All of them, they wanted to be commanders. Why? Look at the reason, or one of the reasons why the Holy Prophet made an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old commander over all of these people. All of these companions are how old? 40, 50, 60 years old. Why does the Holy Prophet make an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, a commander over them? Because tomorrow, these same people are going to come to Amir al-Mu'mineen and say, Ya Ali, you're young, these are old people. Ya Ali, you're young. Abu Bakr, he's older than you. It's not becoming. It's not becoming that they should follow you. The Holy Prophet knew that this was what's going to happen. So before it even happens, he's trying to let the people know, no, when it comes to this type of commandership, age doesn't matter. What matters is what? Whether the person is skilled enough to lead. That's it. Usama was skilled enough to lead. That's why he made him commander. Haris was skilled enough to lead. That's why he made him commander. It wasn't favoritism. It was because they were skilled enough to lead. But what did the companions do? Each and every single one of them, they made excuses. Each and every single one of them. To the point where Usama, he comes to the Holy Prophet, and the Holy Prophet hears that the companions have not gone with him. When the Holy Prophet hears this, he says, I want you all to leave now. Meaning, I want you all to join Usama now. I want you to leave with him now. I want you to join him now. I want you to leave now. They still don't listen. When they don't listen a second time, the Holy Prophet hears about this. What does he do? In that state of illness, the Holy Prophet comes into the masjid. He gets on the minbar and he curses what? He curses anyone that does not join the army of Usama. He says, may the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may the lanat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on anyone that does not join the army of Usama. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. 3 times. Who was the Holy Prophet cursing? Who is he cursing? His companions. When the Holy Prophet is cursing his own companions for disobeying his command, how is it wrong to curse those same companions for disobeying the command of the Holy Prophet? Today you have the Muslims, they're saying, no, you're not allowed to curse the companions. Why? They're all obedient. If they're all obedient, then why is the Holy Prophet cursing them? You look at the Quran, they were all at the same level. All of their intellect was at the same level. All of their iman was at the same level. All of their ilm was at the same level. Everything was the same, equivalent to every single one of them. Everything was the same. That doesn't even exist in any society where every single person's intelligence is equal. Whatever society you live in, you'll have some people that are smarter, some people that are dumb. You'll have some people that are clever, some people that are stupid. In any society that you live in, to say that all of them were at equal footing, if that was true, then all these verses of the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where He says, to whom? To the people living in that time period, first and foremost, and then to everyone else. Is the person who is knowledgeable the same as someone who's ignorant? The person who's knowledgeable, is he the same as someone who's ignorant? This verse was obviously revealed regarding people that lived at that time. So that tells you what? That there were some people that were knowledgeable, some people that were ignorant. So then how can you say that all of their knowledge was at the same level? The Quran itself, it talks about munafiqeen. How can you claim that the munafiqeen were whom? They lived in the time of the Holy Prophet. The hypocrites lived in the time of the Holy Prophet. They what? They believed in the Holy Prophet. They believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They go to the Holy Prophet, they say that we believe, they be with the Muslimin, they say that we believe with you. And then they go back to the kuffar and they say what? No, we're really with you. We're really with you. These are the types of people that the Holy Prophet was surrounded with. And the Quran says what? Are the kafirin and the Muslimin the same? No. When the mu'mineen and the Muslimin aren't the same, when the mu'mineen and the Muslimin aren't at equal footing, then how can believers and non-believers be at equal footing? The Holy Prophet, what did he curses them 3 times. After he curses them, that's when some of the companions, they get their act together and they go. Some of them, they stay back. Why? Because the Holy Prophet is in pain. We can't bear to see him like this. We can't bear to leave him in pain. We can't bear to see him like this. We want to stay to take care of the Holy Prophet. This is the reasoning. in all of the battles of Islam, where were these same companions? You look at Hunayn, they left the Holy Prophet. You look at Badr, they left the Holy Prophet. They didn't care for his health, they didn't care for his safety then. Now they're caring for his safety? Now they're caring for his health? Where were they? What was the reason that they did not want to go? The reason is they knew exactly what was to happen. They knew exactly why the Holy Prophet did not want Amir al-Mu'mineen to go. These companions, they already knew. So what did they do? Some of them, they stayed. Others, they'd go to the camp of Jawf, and then they'd come back. They'd go, they'd come back. And they'd send people to find out what's going on with the Prophet. Is he still alive, or has he left this world? And then what happens? The Holy Prophet, he leaves this world. But even before he leaves this world, one of the same companions of the Holy Prophet is walking towards Baqi. And this companion is with him. When he gets to Baqi, the Holy Prophet, he starts to cry. When he starts to cry, the companion, he asks him, Ya Rasulullah, why are you crying? And the Holy Prophet, he says, I'm crying because as soon as I leave this world, the grave, I would barely be put in the grave, and as soon as I leave this world, the door of Fatima is going to fall on top of her. As soon as I leave this world, the calamity is that my daughter will start facing calamities that she did not face in my lifetime. When this companion, he hears the Holy Prophet say this, the companion, he asks, Ya Rasulullah, this will happen while I'm still alive? And the Holy Prophet, he looks at him and he says, you will be part of that group that drops that door on my daughter. You will be part of that group. It will be you. The disobedience to the Holy Prophet started, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. The disobedience to the Holy Prophet started where? Here, with the army of Usama. When they realized that the Holy Prophet was in his last moments of life, they realized that they could be disobedient to him now. Now, when it's closer for him to leave this world, there's nothing to stop people from saying, no, don't get him pen and paper. There's nothing. Inshallah, we'll get to that event tomorrow, and we'll analyze that event. But in this event, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say regarding obeying the Holy Prophet? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messenger so that you may be shown mercy. Obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messenger so that you may be shown mercy. That means what? That means if you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messenger, you won't be shown mercy. Obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messenger so you will be shown mercy. So when you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messenger, are you in the realm of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now? No, you're out of that realm of mercy. So when these companions, they disobeyed, not just once, not just twice, in the lifetime of the Holy Prophet, this was twice. When they disobeyed the command of the Holy Prophet, once you go out of the realm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, you're in the realm of what? La'an now. Once you're out of the realm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy, you're in the realm of la'an of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this, when disobeying the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's where it puts you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says again, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul, wa la tubtilu a'malakum. Oh, you believe, obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obey the messenger, and do not void your deeds. Do not void your deeds. Do not void your deeds. How? By disobeying the Holy Prophet, by disobeying the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Two things now from these verses. When you disobey the commands of the Holy Prophet and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're in his realm of la'an. When you disobey the commands of the Holy Prophet and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your good deeds have been voided. Let's go on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the messenger. But if you turn back, then surely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not love the disbelievers. قُلْ أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْكَافِرِينَ. Think about what who's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calling kafirin now? Obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Obey the messenger. But if you turn back, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not love the kafirin. Who are these kafirin? Who turn back? Are these not the companion of the Holy Prophet that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about? If you turn back and disobey the Holy Prophet or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you become kafir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not love the kafirin. These verses of the Quran, did those companions of the Holy Prophet, did they forget these verses? If you ask the majority of Muslims today, they say, no, how could they forget? They're hafiz of Quran. They're hafiz of Quran. If they're hafiz of Quran, then what happened here? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, do not disobey him, do not disobey the messenger. If you do, this will happen to you. No. Even for us, what do we say? No, they knew the Quran. Knowing the Quran and acting on the Quran are two different things. Reading the Quran and acting on the Quran are two different things. You can read the Quran all you want, but if you don't act on what the Quran is saying, what good is it? The verses, the Quran was sent to us to guide us. The way we show that we've been guided is through our actions. The way we show that we've been guided is through our actions. If our actions are against what the Quran is saying, then have we been guided? No. No. So no, it's not becoming of those companions who are hafiz of Quran for us to say about them that no, they did not know the Quran. No, they knew the Quran. They knew the Quran. But they just chose not to act upon it. And you see that with a lot of Muslims today. You see that with a lot of Muslims. They know some of the verses of the Quran, but they just choose not to act upon it. And you have to remember, Yazid, la'natullah alayhi, why do we curse him? Abu Sufyan, la'natullah alayhi, why do we curse him? Fir'aun, la'natullah alayhi, why do we curse him? Namrud, why do we curse him? Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curse Namrud? Why does he curse Fir'aun? Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curse an uncle of the Prophet? Why? Because all of these, it's not just the personality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at character, traits that these personalities had. These traits, if these traits are found in anyone, then that person is rightfully to be cursed. These traits. The traits that Fir'aun had, if they're to be found in someone else, they can be cursed. The trait, those evil traits that Namrud had, those traits that Abu Sufyan had, those traits that Abu Lahab had, those traits that Yazid had, those traits that Muawiyah had. What were those traits? For Namrud, what did he claim to be? God. Fir'aun, what did he claim to be? God. Abu Lahab, what did he claim? There was no God. Abu Sufyan, what did he claim? There wasn't just one. Abu Sufyan, Abu Lahab, what were they? They were polytheists. What was their claim? That there isn't just one God. Their claim was that there are more than one God. You have kafir, you have two kuffar, correct? You have two mushrikeen. Two kuffar meaning Fir'aun and Namrud. You have two mushrikeen now. Meaning who? Abu Lahab and Abu Sufyan. When you come to Amir al-Mu'mineen's time, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When you come to Amir al-Mu'mineen's time, what do you have now? You don't have kuffar in the sense of those two. You don't have mushrikeen in the sense of those other two. But now, who do you have? You have munafiqeen. You have munafiqeen that are disguised as Muawiyah al-Lalay. You have munafiqeen, hypocrites that are disguised as Yazid. There's a whole surah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curses the munafiqeen. Why don't the Muslims think, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is cursing the munafiqeens, then shouldn't you and I be allowed to curse the munafiqeens also? Ya Ali. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is cursing them, when the Holy Prophet is cursing them, when Amir al-Mu'mineen is cursing them, why don't I have that same right to curse them? Munafiqeen. If these munafiqeen are more found, or if these munafiqeen are found more in your school of thought, then what can I do about it? If these munafiqeen are found in my school of thought, they're also supposed to be cursed. That shouldn't matter what school of thought that munafiqeen are found in. Whatever school of thought they're found in, they should be cursed. But if they're found more in your school of thought, today, the munafiqeen that are found in the Shia school of thought are whom? The ones who eat from the doorstep of Amir al-Mu'mineen, but when it comes to the fazail of Amir al-Mu'mineen, they start saying, no, that's ghali, that's being ghulu. These are munafiqeen in the Shia school of thought. Munafiqeen within Islam, you see them. It doesn't matter what school of thought. When you see munafiqeen, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curses them, why am I prevented from cursing them? But these same munafiqeen, in the time of the Holy Prophet, what had they done? That kufr was hiding within themselves. That's why they're known as munafiqeen. When you look at the Quran, it says about those same Muslims, they'd go to the Holy Prophet, they'd go to the Muslimin, and they say, we're with you. And then they turn back, go to their own people, and they say, no, we're really with you. What does that mean? These are munafiqeen. That means that shirk is hiding within themselves. That's what a munafiq is. Kufr is hiding within themselves. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curses them, you and I have a right to curse them. Now, when it comes to taking their names, that's a different story. Inshallah, we'll get to it before this series of lectures ends, whether or not we can take their names and whose names can we take. But in this lecture, Usama, he takes his army, he goes, people come back and they say, no, we can't see the Holy Prophet this way. We're going to stay. The Holy Prophet had already said, after I leave, darkness is going to overshadow all of Medina. What darkness is the Holy Prophet talking about? The Holy Prophet states that there's going to be an evil that's going to engulf Medina. What evil is the Holy Prophet talking about? Because think about it. If there's a darkness that's going to come to the city, if there's an evil that's going to come to the city, a darkness that's going to come to your house, an evil that's going to come to your house, what are you going to do? You're going to try and defend it. You're going to try and defend it. You're not going to run away. You're going to try and defend it. So now the Holy Prophet is saying that there's an evil that's going to engulf Medina. But all the Muslimin, the Holy Prophet is sending away from Medina? Why? Isn't the job to defend Medina? But why is the Holy Prophet sending him away then? What was this evil that the Holy Prophet was talking about? Was this some physical evil that was going to come in the form of an army? If it was, then the Holy Prophet shouldn't have sent those people. No. What kind of evil was the Holy Prophet talking about? He was talking about that evil that was within his own companions that he knew would not let Amir al-Mu'minin get Khilafat. That evil. The evil that resides in every single individual, if it's not kept in check, which is what? I want power. If it's not kept in check, that wanting power is neither a good thing or a bad thing. It becomes a bad thing when anything, too much of anything ends up becoming bad. Water, this body needs water. But if you drink too much water, what happens? This body becomes ill. Food, this body requires food. If you eat too much food, what happens? You become ill. Air, this body requires air. But if you take in too much oxygen, what happens? You get ill. What do I mean? Some people, they're looking at oxygen. No, pure oxygen. If you take pure oxygen, what happens to you? You become ill. Pure oxygen. This body requires oxygen, but if you take in just pure oxygen, the air that we breathe, it has other elements to it. But if you just take pure oxygen and you breathe that, you become ill. You become ill. Power, just like that, power, if you do not keep it in check, you become ill. And this is what was happening with the companion of the Holy Prophet. This is exactly why the Holy Prophet wanted everyone to leave Medina. So this power could be in check. This evil that was hiding within themselves to not let Amir al-Mu'minin have Khilafat, this was the reason that the Holy Prophet wanted all of them to leave. But they don't leave. They don't leave. What was it that they said? When they come back, the first people, it was the same three people in history, and these three people, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curse them, but these three people were the ones that were the closest to the Holy Prophet. Only and only. Why? Because they had been told that if they were to be close to the Holy Prophet, that one day they would have power. That was it. That was it. If you read the book of history, you'll see, especially about the first two, that the only reason that they accepted Islam was why? Because of a Jewish person, a Jewish man who had knowledge of the book, and he had knowledge of the stars. He looks at both of them and he says that soon a prophet is going to come to these people. If you accept what he says, you will have power one day. You'll have power one day. And that's the only reason that they accepted Islam. That was it. For power. It wasn't because they believed in the message of the Holy Prophet. No. There were some people in Islam that accepted Islam. Why? Because they were poor. And you see that happening today too. In some of the poorer countries, they accept religion. Why? Because they're poor. The religion has something to give them. Money, food, whatever the case is. You see that even today. 1400 years ago, do you think that did not exist? The Bedouins that were coming to accept Islam, some of them, they only came, why? Because there was drought. Out in the desert, they came to Medina to accept Islam. Why? Because they wanted things from the Holy Prophet. Food, water, money, that was it. Some people accept religion. Why? Because they're poor. Some people accept religion. Why? Because it puts them in a place of power. Some people accept religion. Why? Because it makes sense to them. To them, it's the truth. So when it came to Islam, you also had these three groups of people. You had people that accepted Islam because power. You had people accepted Islam because they were poor. And you had people that accepted Islam. Why? Because they truly believed that Islam was the truth. And those types of people, just like today, there were very few. There are very few. And these are the type of people that the Holy Prophet wanted the most, but around him were the least. These are the type of people that Amir al-Mu'mineen wanted the most, but around him were the least. These are the type of people that Imam Hassan alayhi salam wanted the most, but around him were the least. These are the type of people that Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam wanted the most. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. These are the type of people that Imam Hussein alayhi salam wanted the most, and that's what he got. That's what he got. That's why Imam Hussein, he says that neither my grandfather, nor my father, nor my brother have companions like I do. That's why. What was so special about those companions? What was so special about them? You look at Hur. What was special about him? He was on the side of Yazid until when? Until Asra Ashur. Some of us, we have this mentality that, hey, if we give an example from the mimbar about the imams being like this, some of us, we have the mentality that, no, we can't be like them. No, the example of the imams is being given not so you can be like them. No, for you to be like them, you have to have parents like theirs, to begin with. For you to be like them, you have to have parents like, who has parents like Ali and Fatima? To be like Hassan and Hussein? No one. No. The reason that these examples are being given, for example, Allama Hilli. Everyone, I'm sure everyone here knows or heard of Allama Hilli. If you've gone to the Haram Amir al-Mu'mineen, Allama Hilli, he's buried right by the Haram, or right by the Qubba of Amir al-Mu'mineen, right outside, on the right Qubba. Allama Hilli, after he became known and he became a marja of his time, when his son wanted to start Hawza, he asked his son, why do you want to go to Hawza? Allama Hilli, he replies, so I can be a great scholar like you. His son, he replies, so I can be a great scholar like you. Allama Hilli, he looked at him, he said, if that's the case, then just stay at home. If that's the case, then just stay at home. He goes, Dad, why? He goes, this status that I have right now, it's only because I went to the Hawza wanting to be like Imam Jafar Sadiq al-Islam. This status that I have right now, it's only because I went to the Hawza wanting to be like Imam Jafar Sadiq al-Islam. What does this mean? Does this mean that Allama Hilli thought that he could be like Imam Jafar Sadiq al-Islam? No. Imam Sadiq al-Islam, he's what? In the Shia school of thought, he is at the top of ilm. In the Shia school, in the sense of fiqh. In the sense of fiqh, this whole branch of Shia Islam is known as fiqh Jafari. What's Allama Hilli trying to teach his son? Aim as high as you can. Aim as high as you can. Even if you don't reach that height, you'll get somewhere in life. A lot of us, we aim just to do the minimum, that's it. Just to do the minimum and get through life. A lot of us, that's what we do. No. Whatever it is you do, aim to be the best at it. Whatever it is, aim to be the best. And that's why some of us, we fail. Why? Because our level of where we want to be is down here, when it should be up here. Even if we don't reach this, we can reach here. But if you're already down here and you're set at being down here, what's going to happen? If you don't even reach here, you're going to be even lower. That's what Allama Hilli is trying to teach. And when the ulama, when the scholars, when the speakers come and say, give examples of the Imams. That's the only reason that they're giving the examples. To aim that high. They know that no one can be like them. No one can be like them. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, do not even think or do not even compare us to anyone from this ummah. Do not compare the Ahlul Bayt from anyone in this ummah. And there's a debate going on about what the word ummah means. Does ummah in this khutbah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, does it mean Islam and the Muslims? Or does it over here mean just ummah of the Holy Prophet? That's an intellectual debate, meaning that if it means ummah of the Holy Prophet, then Nabiullah Adam comes under that ummah. Then Nabiullah Ibrahim comes under that ummah. Then Ismail comes under that ummah. Then all of these prophets, they come under the ummah of the Holy Prophet. So if by do not compare us Ahlul Bayt to anyone from this ummah means the ummah of the Holy Prophet, then that means that you cannot even compare the Ahlul Bayt to any one of these prophets. But no, if by ummah it just means the ummah al-Muslimin, that means us, then you cannot even compare them to us. There's no comparison there. But that's a debate that's going on within the tafsirs of Nahj al-Balagha. When it comes to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, just 5 more minutes, that's it. These companions of Imam Hussein, compare them to the companions of the Holy Prophet. Like I said, what was the difference? What's the difference between Hur and one of us? What's the difference? What's the difference between Habib and one of us? What's the difference between... I'm not looking at Abul Fazl Abbas, I'm not looking at Ali al-Akbar, I'm not looking at the Banu Hashim, no. I'm just looking at the Ansar or these helpers that are non-Hashimi of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. What's the difference between them and us? What's the difference? You look at Hur, up until the 10th of Ashur, did he not commit sins? He did. Could there be any graver sin than preventing water to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam? Could there be any greater sin than preventing Imam Hussein to leave Karbala? No. But what's the difference? The difference between him and us is the tawbah that he did. That's it. The way he asked for forgiveness and the way you and I ask for forgiveness. When he asked for forgiveness, he realized his mistake and he changed sides. When we ask for forgiveness, we commit the same mistake again. We commit the same mistake again. He realized the sin that he committed. That's why he says, I see hell on one side, I see heaven on one side. He leaves hell for heaven. What do? The same sin. Exactly, we make the U-turn, we come back. We make the ma'rifat that Hur had. Think about, if you look at Hur and you look at his story and you analyze his story, if he had the ma'rifat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he wouldn't have stopped Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you ma'rifat of the Imam. He loved Ahlul Bayt, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. But when you're talking about the ma'rifah of the Ahlul Bayt, there's something different. Knowing the Ahlul Bayt, loving the Ahlul Bayt and knowing the Ahlul Bayt. You see him Knowing the Ahlul Bayt, his action comes into reality when he turns sides. Even when he just had love for the Ahlul Bayt, he was on the side of Yazid. He was still on the side of Yazid. But now on the 10th of Ashur, something's changed now. Something's changed. What's changed? It's not that he just has love. Now he has ma'rifah of haqq. He has ma'rifah of truth. He has ma'rifah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Look at when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give you ma'rifah, He can give it to you even at the last moments of your life. Even at the last moments of your life. This is why you should never feel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's left you on your own. No. Even in the last moments of your life. And these companions, compare them to the companions of Amir al-Mu'minin, compare to the companions of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. When he switches sides, what does he do? The first thing he does is, some narrations they say it was his son. Other narrations they say it was his servant. He goes out and he's looking at the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He's looking at his own camp. And he's shaking. When he's shaking, his son asked, "Oh father, why are you shaking like this? Why are you shaking like this? There's only 72 people on that side. And they've been thirsty for 3 days. And they've been hungry for 3 days. Why are you shaking like this?" He says, "Oh my son, I'm shaking because I'm making a choice between hell and heaven. I see hell on this side, I see heaven on that side." And Hur's son, he asked, "Oh father, what have you chosen? What have you decided?" He says, "Oh my son, I'm leaving hell to go to heaven." And do you know what he says to his son? He says, "Oh my son, I'm a criminal. I want you to tie my hands behind my back so I can go to Abu Abdullah in this way." His son, he says, "Oh father, your name is Hur. You're a free man. Why do you want me to tie your hands behind your back? This is what happens to criminals." And Hur, he realizes the sin that he had committed. He says, "Oh my son, the sin that I've committed, the crime that I've committed is that I prevented water from reaching the lips of Sakina. I prevented water from reaching the lips of the caravan of the Holy Prophet. Oh my son, I want you to tie my hands." The son, he ties the hands. They get on the horse. When they get on the horse, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, he tells Abu al-Fazl Abbas, he says, "Abbas, we're going to have a guest. Go bring him to me." Abbas, when he comes, he sees Hur on the horse. Hur, he tells his son, "Oh my son, go tell Abbas that we're not here to fight. We're here to ask for forgiveness." When his son goes, Abbas, he looks at Hur and he says, "Oh Hur, I know you're not here to fight. My master Abu Abdullah, he's told me to come and bring you to him." And Hur, when he comes, what does he do? He gets off his horse and he starts to crawl to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. And he says to him, "Oh my master, Ya Abu Abdullah, is there any forgiveness for me? Ya Abu Abdullah, is it possible that you forgive me?" Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, he says, "Oh Hur, I've forgiven you. Oh Hur, you're a free man in this world and you'll be a free man in the next world." Hur, he says, "Oh my master, if you've truly forgiven me, then please give me permission to be the first to get martyred in your way." Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he says, "Hur, if you have permission, you have my permission." What does Hur do? He goes to the tent of Lady Zainab and he says to her, "Oh Lady Zainab, oh daughter of Bint Rasul, please forgive me for everything I've done. Please do not complain to your mother on the day of judgment. Please do not complain to her." Lady Zainab, she looks at Hur and she says, "Oh Hur, I will not complain to my mother Zahra on the day of judgment. I will tell her that
that you were one of the people that helped us. What does Hur do? He sends his son first to the battlefield, and when his son goes to the battle, he gets martyred. Hur, he runs on the horse, he gets on the horse, and he gets to his son's body. When he gets to his son's body, the narration states that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein al-Isabi was already at the body, and he says to Hur asks him, Ya Abu Abdullah, oh master, why are you lifting the slave's body? Abu Abdullah, he looks at Hur and he says, oh Hur, a father should not be able to carry his Jawad son. A father should not be able to carry his young son. Hur, when he goes out to battle after he gets martyred, the narration said when Shah Abbas Safi, he was making the mausoleums, some of his people, he told them, no, do not make the mausoleum of Hur. Why? Because he's the one who stopped Abu Abdullah from getting water. He's the one who stopped Abu Abdullah at Karbala. Shah Abbas, he says, no, I will make the mausoleum. I'm going to open his grave. If he is a shaheed, then he will completely be salim. There will be nothing wrong with him. He will look as if he's still alive. When he opens the grave, he sees that Hur is still alive. And he sees that there's an aroma coming from his grave. He climbs down into the grave and he smells to see where that aroma is coming from. And he sees that it's coming from a bandana that's tied to his forehead. What does he do? He takes off that bandana. There's fresh blood that comes out from the wound underneath that bandana. And he ties one of his own bandanas and he tries to come out of that grave. When he tries to come out, Hur, he gets up and he says, oh Shah Abbas, I don't want you to make a mausoleum over my grave. All I want you to do is give that bandana back to me. That was the bandana that Lady Zahra gave to Abu Abdullah, which he gave to me.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wa la'natullahi alal qawm al-kafirin. Matam Hussein.
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے اکبر گزر گئے علی اصغر گزر گئے اکبر گزر گئے علی اصغر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے مشکل کی راہ میں ہر ایک منزل وفا مشکل کی راہ میں ہر ایک منزل وفا علی کا نام بہتر گزر گئے لے کر علی کا نام بہتر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین اس دل پر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے فوجوں کو چیرتے ہوئے عباس نامدار فوجوں کو چیرتے ہوئے عباس نامدار فوجوں کو چیرتے ہوئے عباس نامدار مختار سے مثل ہے در صفدر گزر گئے مختار سے مثل ہے در صفدر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے جب یاد آ گئی کبھی زینب کو کربلا جب یاد آ گئی کبھی زینب کو کربلا جب یاد آ گئی کبھی زینب کو کربلا کیا کیا نظر کے سامنے منظر گزر گئے کیا کیا نظر کے سامنے منظر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر اتر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے اکبر گزر گئے علی اصغر گزر گئے کیا کیا ستم حسین کے دل پر گزر گئے
میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا بیتاب دھوپ میں ہے بیتاب دھوپ میں ہے زنجیر کا ستایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا زینب کے سر میں اب تک ہے ریت کربلا کی زینب کے سر میں اب تک ہے ریت کربلا کی رسی نے بازوؤں پہ کالا نشان بنایا رسی نے بازوؤں پہ کالا نشان بنایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا اجڑے گھروں میں گونجی آواز ہائے اکبر اجڑے گھروں میں گونجی آواز ہائے اکبر سغرا کو جب پھوپھی نے بڑھ کر گلے لگایا سغرا کو جب پھوپھی نے بڑھ کر گلے لگایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا پردیسیوں کی قبروں میں تربت سکینہ پردیسیوں کی قبروں میں تربت سکینہ کس نے پھول ڈالے کس نے دیا جلایا کس نے پھول ڈالے کس نے دیا جلایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا بیتاب دھوپ میں ہے بیتاب دھوپ میں ہے زنجیر کا ستایا راہوں میں سارباں کو پانی ملا نہ سایا یا حسین 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 یا حسین
السلام علیکم یا نبی اللہ السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ السلام علیکم یا حجت اللہ السلام علیکم یا حبیبنا و حبیب اللہ و رحمت اللہ وبرکاتہ السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك وعلى جدك وأبيك، السلام عليك وعلى أمك وأخيك، السلام عليك وعلى أخوك بالفضل العباس وجميع شهداء كربلاء وحسينان كربلاء مختلف الملائكة ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفوة الله، السلام عليك يا وارث نوح نبي الله، السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله، السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله، السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله، السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا وارث علي أمير المؤمنين ولي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن محمد مصطفى، السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا سار الله وابن ساره والوتر الموتور، أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر، أطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين، فلعن الله من قتلتك ولعن الله من علمتك ولعن الله من سمع بذلك فرجي به. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الإسلام شامخة والأرحام المطهرة، لم تلبسك الجاهلية من جاسها ولم تلبسك من مجرمات ثيابها، أشهد أنك من دائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين، أشهد أنك إمام البر تقي الرضي الزكي الحاج المهدي، أشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى وحجة على أهل الدنيا، أشهد أن ملائكة وأنبياء ورسل أني بكم مؤمن وبيا بكم موقن بشرع ديني وخاتم أمري قلبي لقلبكم سلم أمري لأمركم متبع صلوات الله عليكم ولا أسعدكم ولا إحسانكم ولا شاهدكم ولا غائبكم ولا ظاهركم ولا باطنكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام عليك يا مغيث الشيخ والزوار في يوم الجزاء، السلام عليك يا أنيس النفوس، السلام عليك أيها المدفون في أرض الطوس وأبنائك الأربعة وآبائك السبع ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان أقام الكفر والطغيان، أجل الله تعالى فردك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك وأجل الله من أنصارك وأعوانك ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد، اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا معينا حتى تسكنه أرضك وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
میں بھی ابھی وہ ہو گیا تھوڑا سا